welcome to Featured Artist Friday. Today we are here with Greg Caffrey.
Hello.
Do you want to tell us a wee bit about what you do, Greg?
My name's Greg Caffrey, and I'm the artistic director with an ensemble called the Hard Rain Soloist Ensemble that are based in Belfast.
So the first question I have for you, Greg, is what were your aims in starting a contemporary music ensemble in Belfast?
Well, we didn't have a contemporary music ensemble in Belfast prior to the formation of Hard Rain Soloist Ensemble. So the whole idea was to create a group that could perform the music of contemporary composers here. I myself am a composer, and one of the issues that I had, I suppose, over a period of many years here was that while I was able to get performances of my music outside of Northern Ireland, I wasn't able to get performances of music here, really, because there wasn't the infrastructure for it. So it became apparent something had to be done about it, and so I decided that I would take the step and try and set the ensemble up.
Excellent. So how long did it take you to to get the ensemble running from the initial idea to the opening of the first season?
Yeah, well, the idea can maybe be traced back many years, actually, because we all have these brilliant ideas of things that we want to do, and often we never put them into action. But I think it came to a head in the summer of 2013. When I was in Paris, in fact, at an artist's residency there, and I was in touch with a lot of musicians who were telling me all about the artistic and creative life in places like Frankfurt or Hamburg or various places in France and all different parts of the world, and it became very clear to me that a lot of these cities, many of the cities were a comparable size to Belfast, and they had not just a contemporary music ensemble, but sometimes 3-4 contemporary music ensembles. So I thought that, the time has come, we really need to do something about this. And so after I came back from that stay in Paris in the summer of 2013, I set about, looking into how we would go about, setting the organization up, because it's not just a group of musicians who meet. It actually is an organization in the sense that it's constituted. We have a committee, which obviously you're well aware of, and we meet, and having a committee enables us to access funding that we wouldn't be able to access otherwise if we were just a bunch of individuals, who were doing this of our own bat. So our first, I think we were. Let me think. I think we were. Our first concert, if I remember correctly, was in September of 2013, and
in the Mac.
In the Mac, that's right. And that was a concert largely focusing on the composer Takemitsu. We also had a couple of my pieces in there and a couple of pieces by Ian Wilson as well, and that really got the ball rolling. The promoter for that event was Brian Carson from Moving On Music, and he, in fairness to him, took a bit of a chance on us because, let's face it, we were an ensemble that had never performed together before. In fact, the various members of the ensemble met for the first time. Some of them met for the very first time in the rehearsals, So Brian took a bit of a chance, and as he does with a lot of the music that he promotes, you have to be fearless in this business, and he gave us that opportunity, and we haven't looked back since. That led on to another lunchtime concert in Queens, here where we are, and then we had our first season the following year, running from October through to May. So, and we are now heading towards the end of our third complete season.
Yeah.
So it's been a big journey for us, and very exciting as well.
Yeah. So maybe I should ask you, how did you sort of hit upon the name Hard Rain Soloist Ensemble?
The funny thing is, everybody asks that question. I don't have a kind of definitive answer for it, really. The name obviously just kind of materialized at some point. I mean, I think I was probably looking for a name that gave an impression of energy and yeah, just excitement. And I think Hard Rain. I was probably really, I was definitely really interested in the music of Toru Takemitsu at that particular time as well. You know, hence this first concert which featured his works. And Takemitsu's music, as you'll probably know, has some very watery titles. You know, with all kinds of references to rain and water and seas and that kind of thing. And so maybe the Hard Rain came out of that as well. But it's got nothing to do with Bob Dylan, which is, that some people assume.
Well, I had no idea. I don't know anything about Bob Dylan, but it certainly has a ring to it. It has a great sound. So
can I just say something else about Hard Rain as well? I mean, it's a Hard Rain Soloist Ensemble, and I think that's significant because what we mean by a soloist ensemble is that while the group's an ensemble, all the individual members are very happy to work as soloists within that group.
Yeah.
So when we do a concert, there are 5 core members of the group, and sometimes that expands, but there are 5 core members, and sometimes the individual members will perform solo pieces, duos, trios, and so on, so the group can kind of contract and expand. It's not necessarily 5 people delivering the music all the time, and so that idea of a soloist ensemble is very important to us.
And obviously, due to that fact, you can have a much broader spectrum of music that you can perform.
Yeah. I think we'd probably struggle to get repertoire for all the concerts that we do because we're quite active, as you know, if we had to involve all 5 people all the time in every single piece. And it adds a nice variety anyway, I think, for the audience to be able to kind of expand and contract like that. And, it's a good thing to be able to do.
Yeah, so, that actually leads quite nicely into the next question, which is how did you decide upon the members? Obviously, in the beginning, there would have been some membership changes and things, and it seems to have sort of solidified a bit more now.
Yeah, well, natural selection, I suppose, to some extent, and we had people in the ensemble, for example, who moved away to another part of the UK and so on, and it wasn't just as feasible to have them on board. And but I mean, essentially speaking, when I pulled the first group of musicians together, they were all or mostly musicians that I had worked with before in my kind of life as a composer. So Aisling Agnew, for example, the flautist with the ensemble, who's still with us. I don't mean she's still with us, she's still alive. She's still with the ensemble. She had worked with me quite a bit in the past with her duo partner, the guitar player, Matthew McAllister. So, there'd been a long-standing relationship there, and so when I needed a flute player for this ensemble, obviously Aisling was a perfect person. I mean, she's interested in contemporary music as well as many other forms of music, and she's, really. I mean, it's important to say that for this kind of ensemble, you really do need players who are soloists in the strictest sense of the word. They can handle very difficult music and can absorb music very, very quickly and get through rehearsals in a very efficient way, and she's a prime example of that. But I could point to any of the members of the ensemble and say the same thing about them, really.
Yeah. Okay, sure. So what do you think about the state of sort of contemporary music in Ireland, well, in Belfast in particular, and how do you think that the Hard Rain Ensemble has had a positive impact on the sort of the scene, as it were?
Well, I mean, I think that without a doubt, without wanting to blow my own trumpet too much here, or blow our own trumpet too much, I mean, we have created some kind of scene for contemporary music. I mean, bear in mind that before the ensemble existed, there really were very few opportunities. I mean, for the performance of contemporary music, particularly for young developing composers, composers who either were still in study at university or who perhaps had just left university. It was quite difficult for them to get performances here, and for professional composers too. So I think that we've remedied that to some extent. And I mean, if you look at the performances that we've given over the last 3 years, you'll see that we've given literally scores of premiere performances by local composers, and not just that, but we've been able to give repeat performances of certain pieces of music as well, which is sometimes sometimes people get that first performance but don't get the second and third performance, which is very, very important, I think, for the piece to live and breathe. So I think that that has definitely helped the contemporary music scene develop. I mean, another aspect of this is that through giving concerts practically on a monthly basis now, we've built an audience base for the group as well. So, I mean, when I look out into the audience now, I can see familiar faces all the time, and not just the usual composers who you expect to come along to a concert, or academics or whatever, but actually people from different walks of life, people who are from different art forms as well, people who are interested in the visual arts. They come along because they're genuinely interested in what we do. So I think we've built an audience base. And I suppose another aspect of the developmental process of what we do is that we've kind of built an infrastructure in the sense that we've formed a lot of collaborations with different organizations. So, for example, we're ensemble in residence with the Crescent Arts Centre. So that's a very important relationship there, where we give performances and hopefully bring something to their season of events. And similarly, we stand to benefit from that. From we've been able to use the space and the facilities that they have there. And then in the university here at Queen's University, we're industry professionals, which means that we have a specific role to play here. We come in and do workshops with students. We give the occasional concert, and we even have someone at the moment who's on work placement with the ensemble, working behind the scenes, doing all sorts of useful stuff with us, and there are lots of other organizations. We recently did a concert in the Ulster Museum, for example. We've worked with Moving On Music. We work with the Ulster Youth the Ulster Youth Orchestra, and a whole range of organizations. And so it's through kind of making these connections within the local scene that I think brings a kind of vibrancy to it. So
yeah, absolutely. And I must make the point that obviously being a music student at Queen's and an aspiring composer, definitely having musicians of this caliber to give performances of your work, even in a workshop setting, it helps you grow so much, because you can actually hear what you're writing and hear what works and what doesn't work.
That's good.
And it's really it's just a fantastic sort of resource.
I think the players like to do it as well. I mean, they obviously they like to perform on stage, but this process of going in and working with genuinely interested young people is something that really they find very fulfilling as well.
Yeah.
So we want that to continue, actually.
Yeah, it's definitely an excellent thing. So the next question, I guess you kind of answered a lot of this stuff here, but in what way does the ensemble sort of promote dialogue with young composers and young musicians? Maybe you might want to talk about the sort of young musician that you have working with the ensemble, William Curran.
Yes, exactly. So William is a clarinetist with the Ulster Youth Orchestra, and we initiated this scheme whereby we auditioned a number of them who were interested in playing contemporary music, and we, out of a group of really talented individuals, actually, we were able to choose William, and we want to involve him with the group. He's doing some stuff with us towards the end of the year, playing a piece by Elliot Carter called Gra, actually, in one of our performances. But we also kind of co-hosted a concert with him along with Queen's, a lunchtime event. And we had our own Hard Rain pianist, Sean Morgan Rooney, accompany him in that. And it was a really, really fantastic concert, actually, of very, very high standard. I mean, a professional standard concert. So fair play to William for giving that concert. So that's one of the things we do. We also do, we have a workshop lined up that we're doing next month, actually, with Ulster Youth Orchestra, where we're doing a performance of Terry Riley's In the Sea. And we are going to audition again for a new young artist who come on the same scheme that William's on this year for next season. So we're looking forward to that. We also, on the subject of helping younger generation along as far as contemporary music's concerned, we have the Peter Rosser competition as well, which is an opportunity for young composers to submit works specifically for our ensemble. And there's a cash prize, but there's also we record the piece, and actually we live video stream the piece, and we program it in our following season. So it's actually great opportunity for a composer to perhaps even get their first ever professional performance, and repeat performance as well. So
yeah, that's a really great thing, and especially if you have a recording of it, a live stream, it sort of helps put it out online and hopefully attract more attention.
It can be difficult sometimes if you're not known as a composer. It's very difficult to get a performance from a professional group without a recording. You've got to almost kind of prove yourself. The score will do that to some extent, obviously, but a recording sometimes, particularly if it's by a group that another group will recognize, it speaks volumes. So it is a good opportunity, I think, for people.
Most definitely. So I guess the final question that I would have for you, Greg, is
no, it's not over.
Well, I know we got to end sometime, right?
Okay.
So. The final question, I guess, is that how do you see the ensemble growing, hopefully, in the future? Do you have any sort of plans in your mind that you would like to work towards?
Yeah, I mean, pipe dreams, really, rather than hard kind of plans about how we're going to move forward. But as you know, everything is dependent on how much funding we can attract. There are lots of things that we'd like to do, and there are lots of ways we would like to move forward, but we'd have to see how things develop. I'd like to see the group take on more of an international profile. There's no reason why the level that the group plays at that we can't be accessing some of the big contemporary music festivals, Huddersfield, for example, but there are a plethora of these festivals all over Europe, and so that's a possible direction for us, but it does need some initial kind of funding to get that off the ground. So that's one thing. The other thing is we haven't put out any professional recordings as yet. So that's something that we absolutely need to do at some point in the future. And in fact, it would be part of that whole process of selling the ensemble on to festivals and that kind of thing. So that's something that we have very much in our sights. Other than that, we're committed to developing the local scene here as well, and we want to do much more of that. I suppose one of the areas where we do need help, as far as the ensemble is concerned, is the administrative area. And often when funders get involved with an organisation, they're very keen on the project stuff. In other words, if you've got a season together, then they're very keen to encourage that and to fund it, in fact. But sometimes funders don't necessarily see the merit in actually funding positions, administrative positions within an organisation. And of course, without someone running around, making sure that there's music stands in a place or filling out the funding applications in the first place, and making sure that flights are booked and hotels are booked and all that kind of. Without that, you actually don't have an ensemble. So it's very important, I think, that we bring that to the attention of the people that fund us, and just kind of they're very supportive, but to just make sure that they are more supportive if it's at all possible. So
yeah, well, I guess we should end it there, Greg, but thank you very much.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure being involved, and I'm glad people are interested in this.
Great, yeah, and I hope that if you're interested, you'll take the time to check out the material that's available on the Hard Rain Ensemble. It'll be linked in the description below, and hopefully you can check it out down there. So thanks for watching, and thank you, Greg.
Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure.
My pleasure.